Greetings in the mighty name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, King Alpha, and I Divine Mother, Empress Menen, Queen Omega, and I the children of Jah Rastafari, representing for the Ankh Nation family. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in I sight, O Jah. Greetings once again. Once again, give thanks to lending I ear so I can articulate and clarify Rastafari. Yes, once. This word sound is in relation to I call it the trilogy of the word sounds that the Bible, the blueprint of conquest, strategically. Now I today at the Judeo-Christian celebration of the so-called birth of them Jesus Christ, So on this day I go present, or this is I gift to I family, the Rastafari family, the Ankh Nation family, popularly known as Africa. Now, recap. We start out and we tell about Noah, which I identify Noah as a principle, the principle of surveillance, reconnaissance, surveillance. And I declare Noah as that principle. Him identify the Canaan behind the story where them curse Canaan. But I recognize them identify Canaan as the weakest black space or Ankh Nation African space for conquest. So, and at the same time, them could attack Canaan first because I'm the too strong at the time. Now, and represent popularly known as Africa, where I preferable for advance Ankh Nation as their righteous name for the continent, or for I as a people, the Ankh Nation family. Now, then we move now to the one where them call Abraham. Ironically again, Abraham come and him God now. This is where him come now and claim say him God now. Promise him Canaan for him and him generation. And him now come with the monotheistic principle, meaning the one God concept. And might I interject now and let I as the Ankh Nation family know say monotheism manifests out of the African Egyptian name Ankh-Naten, with the principle of Aten, when try introduce about in the 90th dynasty, 1819 dynasty, somewhere there about. But nonetheless, back to Abraham and the strategy where him bring to the table now for protect them whiteness, and I declared them say them white based upon Noah, based upon them point of entry, which is to them say in the Bible them label it as Ararat. But Ararat is identified or geographically represent Russia, Armenia, Turkey, Iran, Armenia, Georgia, up in the region where them call it Caucasus Mountain. And I don't know say the Caucasus Mountain inhabited by what we call Caucasian or white people, preferably. I identify them as the northern invaders or ice people. Sometimes you hear interchangeable with words, so now sometimes I say white people straight up. Because that's how them, just like how them identify as black people, and I identify them as white people. Now Abraham now, as one of these northern descendants, come now and they bring in now the strategic principle for how they survive in a black space now. Them come with them segregationism. The segregationist ideology when say they must not interbreed with the Canaanites. And interbreeding, what you see said, them interbreed amongst themselves, Abraham and him sister, Sarah slash him wife, and it carry over to him Isaac with Rebecca, and the principle carry over. So now Abraham represent infiltration, segregationist ideology, interbreeding, and give them now the one God. Now this now have to focus them into oneness. So these are the principles. They unify them, give them God. Once you have your God, then all things are possible. Alright, so this is what Abraham represent. Now, then you move over to, I'm not going to bother with Isaac. Isaac represent the same thing as him carry over where Abraham represent. Now we're going to Jacob now. Jacob, I and I identify as him is the scientist, Mr. Eugenics, the principle of eugenics. Now, this is what I call selective breeding. This is what him represent. And the master, this kind of principle behind when him and him uncle Laban, when them take the spotted goats, them or sheep or whatever, calf or whatever, and them use eugenics and almost bankrupt him uncle. So this is the early. Not only that, now he is the one that gave them the identity, hence their name, Israel or Israelites. Modern day, them say Israelis, but anyway, Israelites. So now them have them identity. This is Jacob give them identity. Now they are no longer now accept the name that the people them in the land call them, because the people them identify them as Hebrews, and that means ones who cross over. Cross over from where is the question I ask, which once again we point back to the Caucasus region, Mount Ararat, because they say them descend out according to the Bible. Because again, the Bible is not I and I one of them give it away. And I know I use divine wisdom and knowledge, and I extract and I highlight these principles and show you that the Bible is the blueprint of conquest. And all them hide them the strategic principles in this book here. Now that is Jacob. Now we move on to another significant character, where economics. Mr. Pretty Coat himself, Joseph. Now this one, them tell us I'm going to Egypt as a slave and rise up in the ranks of the Egyptian court to a high ranking official. Them say a governor, and a matter of fact, it becomes the de facto ruler too. How? Where him use him word sound prediction, him ability to predict, and divination, as them would call it, and hence economics, and him end up enslave the Egyptian them through them belly. Funny, the slave becomes an enslaver, right? Now, and him now represent economics, and again me say him enslave the Egyptian them through them belly, which is a principle that is very active, and them I use that against I and I today. Set speed. Now, remove from now, transition over to the next significant, and what we call Moses now. Now, Moses now, are the man now, what them say, born, now when I'm born in Egypt, in at the time when them claim say him born now, them supposedly under oppression, the Egyptian them are enslaved them according to for them story. I enslaved them to the point now where now this one rise up from amongst them. Are them infiltrate, them use him now for infiltrate the leadership, for get access to certain knowledge, because at them time them never possess certain knowledge. So him now are the man will represent indoctrination, single-mindedness, organization, centralization. This is Moses. Now, why I and I say him represent all these things? And single-mindedness. Now, one, even though him raised up in the Egyptian court as a prince, him learned all the ways that the Egyptian them, but yet still his identity was always a Hebrew or an Israelite. Because according to the story, them find the princess find him in a reed basket, but and I really find she find him. He must place so she can discover, because now them plot and scheme and use the Egyptian princess desire for a child. So them present her with that desire, or gifted her Moses, but at the same time the grooming and the shaping and molding of Moses through infancy was through from a mother side, the Hebrew people them, because them shape and mold them. And him going and infiltrate in the leadership now. And now he was raised with the privilege as an Egyptian, but mentally he was still a Hebrew. How we know this now? In the Bible them say him say a Egyptian a beat up a Hebrew and him intervene and him kill the Egyptian. And then another time now, two of him brethren them argue amongst themselves and him intervene and say, yo, why you do what you do? And the next one say, who make you Lord and Master over we? And what you want to do? You want to do the same thing that you did with the Egyptian. Once him recognize this now, them say, him recognize say him crime was discovered, so him take away himself. Again, I highlight again for sure you say the principle of Maya, the Egyptian, them social order is not a respecter, a title, a man, but the law is the law, and none is above the law. Here it is now, a prince, one who raised as a prince of a runway. Nonetheless, them say him go up in one place near Midian and they meet one, what you call it, Jethro, Ruel, Hobab, whichever one I name them you want to call him father-in-law. Because different part in the story, the father-in-law have different names that them get. Marry the daughter and him get youth. Nonetheless, the story continues. This is the story them want to give, but I extract and I show you what this man represent, the principle. Again, indoctrination, because him come now and him indoctrinate them, and him now is the one now where give them the name. The name is, them claims that the name is I am that I am, and later on it becomes Yahweh. But the reason why them not call the divine name and I the name, because really Yahweh is the ancient Egyptian God Ptah, where them corrupt it in them Hebrew language and switch it around now and call it Yahweh, the God of fire, metallurgy. And this are the same principle where we come to know as Yahweh today. You know what I mean? I and I reclaim it, but now I said Jah Rastafari. Because I and I said the Bible, I and I have to extract I and I Asian principle. I and I swallow this story as how the Magito I and I. So anyway, him indoctrinate and train them now. Now, as the story continue now, so now them have them name Israelites, now them have them God. Them indoctrinate with them God, and in the story it carry over now wearing. Them wander in the wilderness for 40 years or something like so. 40 years, and out of that now the older generation them die off and left the younger ones them. We're going to put them between the age of say, let's say 30, late 20s, early teens, pre-teens, let's say early teens. And this now how Joshua come into play. But Moses now, him indoctrinate them in the Yahweh principle, and now him give them structure. The structure where him give them now is him give them rules and regulations what them call the 10 Commandments. But however, before them can really become fully indoctrinated, there comes a point in the story where Moses go up in the hill to get the 10 Commandments. And him go up in the hill. When him come back down, him come back up, them must celebrate the golden calf, which is a divine animal, the Egyptian psychology, or ideology, or principle. So now this now when Moses find this offensive, and according to the story, him throw the tablet and broke up the ark, and then this when Moses come and do now. Him say, him question him brother Aaron pan exactly what's going on. And out of that now Aaron tell him to the people them. So Moses now recognize that there is conflict of interest or contention between the Yahweh psychology or indoctrination where him promote and the Egyptian psychology still a manifest amongst these Israelites now. So what him do? Him said, those who are with me stand next to me. Right? And whosoever with him stand upside of him. And him to everything that they on the opposite side of us. It no matter who it is, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, whoever, murder them. So this now him eliminate the Egyptian psychology so him can have full access to the mind of the youth. Mindset indoctrination. So this is how the Yahweh indoctrination now. And then him give them rules and regulation with them one God now. Thou shall have no other God but them Yahweh. So now this is the indoctrination process. And this was before them could have even conceive. Getting to the level of Joshua now who represent the conquest. But before you can get to right there, you have to have a singular mindset. You have to know who you are. That's how them know them. So them God now, them say the name sacred, so them represent I am, which later on now, as them progress in every other space where them go, them adapt or extract from the culture around them, and them what? Create them own identity where them call Yahweh or so in some instances El or Jehovah. But nonetheless, them solid up within themselves and know who and what they are. So now they are Israelites and them God name Yahweh or I am. Which Yahweh really comes later on. But the I am, because like I said, them use the I am because them claim say in replace of the name a God because the name was too sacred. But not sacred, the name so hide them a hide. Them no want to know, so them copy out of the Egyptian them. So them hide behind I am and later and them reveal it. No one say Yahweh. But Yahweh is actually the Egyptian God. Ptah. Knowledge. Metallurgy or fire. The God of fire. Which Rastafari come today and tell us his name. Jah Rastafari. So this is the strategic principles, and you have to have a one mindset. You have to have your own God. Jah Rastafari in reference to I and I as the Ankh Nation family. Our Rastafari. This is I and I identity. So now we have a name. We have our identity. Now I and I recognize that I and I within the diaspora is one and the same with the people in the continent where you call Africa, or where are popularly known as black people. But I and I name have a new name now. A new name for give I and I own identity after the division, divisiveness that still permeate. Where cause division amongst I and I today. Some of us I call ourselves Trinidadian, some of us I call ourselves Black Americans. You know what I mean? And the different mindset, different names. It's fullness time now I and I come into the realization of who I and I. And before I and I can reclaim our rightful place back in this earth here, I and I have to have I and I own identity. And what? What is I and I identity? Jah Rastafari. It's I and I own because it is from birth from out of I and I. Why? Because slavery, the diabolical enterprise called the transatlantic slave trade that brought captives and turned captives into slaves. And those who refuse them label them wild untamed, hence Maroon, Marcus Garvey, Rastafari, which is I and I now, the resistors. And before you can do anything, you have to know who you are. And who are I and I? Jah Rastafari, the children of Rastafari, the children of God, I and I divine blackness. This is Rastafari, it is yours. And what? They never gave it to you. This was birthed out of the white oppression and white domination. So I and I have to organize and centralize. Marcus Garvey come tell us that one God is Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the First. Jah Rastafari. This is what I and I identify. You know what I mean? Our destiny is to repatriate back to what? Africa. You know what I mean? And this is I and I aim. Now the aim is to, like I say again, with the aim is to organize and centralize, get into the oneness of Rastafari. And when you get into the oneness of Rastafari and know who you are and what you're about, then you can think about reparation. I and I don't want a reparation from them. Because right now, if you talk about reparation, you beg because you're up on your knee. You have to come from a position of strength. And that comes through one accordness, unification, oneness, one mindset. As the biblical characters them show you, so I and I have to really do it. These are the principles that's in them book that them call the Bible. Strategic principle. I and I have to come into I and I oneness and know who I and I is. You see it? And at this it there. So this is I and I gift to the ones and ones them out there. It's the gift of Rastafari. And this day where them say it name Christmas 2023. In 2024, I can't how them set the numbers. I and I have to come into the fullness of Rastafari. And this is I and I articulate and clarify Rastafari. And if you know, say, Jah Rastafari without apology. It is yours. None never gave it to you. When I said none, I talk about them. A your one. Own it. Build it. Yes, I. So, I say it there, you know.